In this video, we're going to work. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Google Calendar and to personalize it for you to make it more efficient for you. Let's get started. As you can see over here in the drop down, you've got event, task, appointment schedule. Now, this is for a free account. In a paid account, you get a couple more options like focus time, out of office, but nothing that's, really necessary. The first thing we're going to talk about is how you personalize your calendar. You can personalize your calendar in a number of ways. First, what's obvious is this image. You can go to custom calendar background options. It's a Chrome extension. You upload it, and then you go find the image online. You grab the URL, store it here, and voila. I have a couple of different images I use for my calendars, but you can use a single image or you can have monthly images that you change or color or themes, and that's something relatively new. Another way you can personalize your calendar is what view you'd like. Sometimes seeing a week can be overwhelming for people. They really just want to focus on the next couple of days. So you've got the option of day, week, month, year, schedule, or 4 days. And where you would change this is here in settings. You would go to settings. Nope, it was simpler than I thought. So you can go to settings and look for appearance. That's light, dark, default, modern, responsive. If you like night, like your backdrop to be dark, there's that view. You can have the regular, or you can have a device default, and you're set there. But over here in this, you have a choice: day, week, month, year. Let's see what they look like. Day is just one day populated. Week is a week, and for some people, that's a lot. Month is very overwhelming. That just looks very busy. Year, we're not even going to go there. And you can do schedule, which is pretty much just based on the things you have scheduled. And I usually choose 4 days because at any given time, I can be working and looking at the next today and the next 3 days. So those are some choices. This here is to switch to calendar or to switch to tasks, which I think is pretty cool since your tasks are usually somewhat connected to your schedule and your calendar and how you're going to be working through your day. So you could see a view where you just have your tasks listed. You can also go over here to get your task as well, add it as an add-on. But this is much simpler. You can switch back to calendar. And then inside of settings, you can change the other things you like or make your preferences, date format. Some people like the date and the month and the year. Some people like the date, the month, the day, the year. These three options, you get to pick one. Time format, time zone that you're in. You can set that here and you can make a label like my time zone in case you carry a lot of zones. I had at one point was carrying quite a few clients on the Pacific time zone. So I would show my Pacific time zone and my Mountain and Eastern, but I labeled them like So I knew at any given time which one I was actually looking at without, knowing the time. You can have a button that says ask to update my primary time zone to current location. This comes in handy when I'm traveling and we're on the road and I may be changing time zones and my system will automatically do that for me. So it keeps me from being late to meetings. If I'm, started out in the Eastern time zone and I'm traveling toward the Central, this will keep me on task. So you can also use the world clock. A lot of people don't necessarily use that now, but if you have a business where you're hosting events or attending things that are in other countries, this might be an option for you to see. And I'll click the button so you can see what it looks like. And here they show you a lot of options. And these are the different time zones we can add. You can just choose from something. I'm trying to get something like Spain let's see. Yeah. On that same time zone. Okay, well, just choose Puerto Rico as one, and then you can add another one, another time zone, and they will all show up when you open your calendar. You'll have all of them. Oh, Brazil. We'll put that on here. Now let's scroll down some more event settings. Now, if your typical meeting is 30 minutes, you can make a default meeting. They've even got something for speedy meetings if you're just going to have a short meeting. Like for calls where you're just getting to know somebody and you're just trying to find out what their actual issues are. You're not really going to go into a lot of detail. Or just a quick coffee chat. 20 minutes, 30, 15, 45. Choose your default duration. You can choose that here. And another thing is permissions for your guests. If you have the type of meetings where you don't mind if they invite others, if I'm booking calls with people, I usually don't have this because if I'm inviting you, nobody else gets to bring people on the calls, especially like calls where we're going to discuss their business or something. Now, if it's personal, you may not, if it's coffee chat, that might be an option. But I tend to leave all of this empty. And I don't let clients or guests modify my events because they'll be constantly changing. I don't do that. That may be an option for you depending on what kind of business you have. And this is add invitations to my calendar only if the sender is known. Because sometimes people may just be inviting you to stuff and you don't know anything about them. And it'll pop on your calendar. You're blocking time away for it. And you don't even know who these people are. So you can say from everyone, only if the sender is known and when I respond to the invitation in email. Any of those choices. And I usually do only if the sender is known because I probably got some correspondence from people before they're sending me invites. Another option, letting others see all invitations if they have permission to. If you have an assistant, you might want to click this so that if they're keeping up with your schedule. And this is helpful. Automatically add Google Meet video conferences to events I create. Since I know most of the invites or events I'm creating are going to be a call or something like that, I could add that. Now, of course, if I'm blocking out time, I wouldn't want to choose that because then I'd have to remove it. Here you've got notifications, desktop notifications, 1 minute before event, a snooze. Most people don't check. I tend to notice that most people don't check emails as much. But if you don't like notifications yourself, you can cut them off. There's certain times a day that I cut my notifications off, like if I'm in deep work or focus time, I cut the notifications off. But usually I like desktop notifications because, I can ignore things that are not. And I only have notifications for things that are very important. I don't have them for everything popping up. And same thing with alerts. You can choose which one you want set up. View options. You can show the weekend. You can show declined events, show completed tasks. I don't need all that because I put a lot of stuff on my calendar. So I would not want to show the completed tasks. They'll show up on my planner or my checklist. Week numbers, I'm not a fan of that. But if you like that, it will show your week number. And displaying shorter events the same size. Like a 15-minute call should still look like a 30-minute if you don't want teeny beeny little slots on your calendar taking up space. It may seem weird to you. When you're looking at your calendar, that could be annoying. So you may want to just have anything less than 30. They just all look the same. It'll reflect the time, but it'll look the same. You can reduce the brightness. I like that for when something's passed, I can look at my calendar and see the difference. And I'll show you when we get back to the calendar. Okay, you can start your week. This is just funny for some people. Some people need to start their week on Sunday. Some people start their weeks on Monday. It's up to you. You do have a choice here. It's your view. Custom view, 4 days, 2 days, however many days. It goes up to 7, of course, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, that's a bit much to be viewing, but there's options. I stick with 4 days, sometimes 3 days, depending on how much is going on. And I don't use alternate calendars. Down here, you've got events from Gmail and keyboard shortcuts. I enable it, but I rarely use them. So let's get back to the calendar. Now, you see at first glance, there's quite a bit of color coding here. And I use that for blocking off important things that are done during my workday. Marketing is a color, training has its own color, clients and marketing have another color. This was an event, but these colors represent things in my business. I know that green things are number one. They mean money to me. So the green tasks during any time of the week, I know I need to get those done. And that's just something I do for myself. So you need to, pick some colors that are really important to you that can signify something important. Like you have to get this thing done if it's red or if it's whatever colors you use to identify. Green is just easy for me. Green is money. So it's just easier for me to identify. Training is orange because that's time for me to get on to, develop my skills. And I need that to be a color that doesn't blend with anything else. Most of the other things fall along the blues or as you can see here. Now to create these blocks, you create an event. To create these, you create tasks. And to create an appointment schedule, we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, I want to show you the difference between events and tasks because sometimes people think they can use events to track their tasks, and you can. Depends on if the event is like an activity. Like I tend to use tasks for smaller things. Well, they're not small, but things that are going to block out a specific time. They're not um big events. Like these things are specific and they're not very large. They're 15, 20 minutes at the most, maybe 30 minutes, rarely an hour. But these other events are longer. Now, whatever you decide in your business is whatever works for you. So you may take events to mean literally events. So if I'm going somewhere, I have a networking event. So you list that here. And we create that. Let me open it back up again. So we've got the networking event. It doesn't repeat. It's 5:30 to 6:30. And we'll just use tomorrow. It doesn't repeat. It's a one-time event. It says add Google conferencing. So it shows me the option. It doesn't automatically add it. Remember that that choice we had, we could have clicked the box and it would have made video conferencing in all your events. We don't want that. We want the option to choose it. This location is a restaurant, a coffee shop, and we're using this other shade of purple because it's networking. It's not marketing. It's not sales. It's not training. And I don't have anything except just put Meet Linda. If you have more details, you can put details. I rarely put details unless it's really some intense activity that I have to prepare for. I don't. And because she invited me, I don't need to add her to this. I'm just doing this for myself. And then I save it. Over here, it says more actions. You can do other things. I can copy it to my annual master calendar. I can duplicate, print. Right now, all I'm going to do is save it. And it becomes, oh wow. What did it jump to? Oh, here it is, 5:30. Okay. So this is what it looks like after. Oh, I made it. I didn't mean to do that. It's not 2 days. I meant it to be March 10th, March 11th on both days. Sorry about that. That's why it looks so wonky. And then just 1 day, 1 hour, not overnight. It's a coffee shop and it shows up over here. So that's your event and how you can use it. Again, you can decide with the color coding to make it more so that you understand at a glance, my colors for events are for networking and events where I'm meeting with other people might be purple. For things where I'm going to market or have sales or clients will be green. Things we're training, maybe you put your personal notes on your same calendar. You can have personal can be something pink or red or some, other color that's pretty obvious and stands out. The choices are endless and they're up to you. I suggest you keep it as simple as possible though. Colors that will be consistent in every calendar. I have quite a few calendars, but the colors are pretty much the same in all of them so that they mean the same. They have the same meanings. The green is for money, blue is for work and important things. And the other colors are just, other things, networking or small activities or whatever. So consider that when you start to put your calendar together. As for this background image, some days it can actually cheer you up having you wake up and you go to your calendar and it's a very cool image. I had a picture of some puppies once and it just put a smile on my face. So you choose images that you love. Find the images on, Pixabay, all these free sites they have for images, and bring the link in and post it here into custom image calendar. What did I call it? What's the name of this? Custom calendar background option, sorry. And it is a Chrome extension. Back to the calendar. So now we have my time zone, but we also have these other time zones that show up over here. You can barely see it because I've got this big snow-covered tree here. But you also have the monthly calendar, which you're pretty used to. You probably seen that before. And you can add other calendars. Typically, I like to make different calendars. If you're going to use this free calendar as your business calendar, which I don't recommend, but I know people got to start somewhere. Name your calendar and then separate the different things you want to do into it so that if you're going to use your scheduler, it's only going to be in your core calendar, but your other appointments, you kind of lay on top of them. And you'll see what I'm saying later when I start to show you how to make it. Matter of fact, let's go jump on that. And before I move over to the appointment scheduler, we just talked about events. Tasks, like I said, are like activities that you do and you have different descriptions. As you can see, there's not as much space to give information as there is for an event. When you go in scripts, this is pretty much it. This is all you can put in here, and says my tasks. So you can say you're repeating it, or it's if it's recurring, like that one's recurring. But you can also get to them over here on the side, which usually when I have my calendar open, I have this open with my calendar and with my emails, because you can easily add tasks from emails. You know how you get an email and there it includes something you have to do. You either have to respond to them with a timeline or something. I use that, and I click on that email and move it right over here. And see, this is one of them where there has an email attached to it because I had to respond to that, and I've already responded to that. But tasks, shorter things you're doing that are important, can be recurring. You can get reminders, notifications. Events are more in-depth things you're going to work on, or even actual appointments with people. So let's move on to appointment scheduler. This by far is really cool, considering so many people are using tools like Calendly, and they think they have to, because they don't even know that this is a free version. This comes with your free calendar. It comes with your paid. Calendly, one calendar is free, and you don't get any workflows or do any other things. Okay. Well, how about this tool already integrated with all of your other business ecosystem inside of Google? Let's create one. This is going to be our sales calls. You can have a sales call. Maybe you want it to be 30 minutes. You're only available for them on maybe Wednesdays and Fridays. And your time you have them are maybe 11. You're open to them 11 to 4 on both days. Oh, no, maybe you have some people that may call you from the West Coast. So maybe we'll go a little later on Friday. Let's try 1, and then we go a little later in case they want to book a call. And you repeat this schedule weekly. See that? You're in your time zone. Your scheduling window is, are you wanting them to be able to book out a certain number of days that they can book? Like some people, if you have a calendar, they're looking way out. I don't advise that. Matter of fact, I advise 60 or less. You don't want people filling up your calendar 6 months from now, because they're not going to remember either. You won't remember and they won't remember. So I would change it to 30 or 60 days out. Minimum time before appointment, 24 hours. I don't like people popping up I just don't. It needs to be a full day where you book a call. So, and then you click these. But you can add in this. You want more time, you want to let people book out ahead because maybe you got a schedule you need to keep up with, or you're a little bit more flexible. You can take calls 4 hours. But when it comes to sales calls, you're going to want to prepare. Remember, this is a sales call scheduler. Um, Indicate times you're available for specific dates. I don't ever do that, but you can add that. I think that adds a layer of complication to it. You want to make it as simple and easy for people to book a call. Buffer time. If you're a person that needs buffer time, you can have 30 minutes between. Make sure you have 30-minute buffer time between your calls. Oh, if you also want to have maximum calls, like maybe you're pretty busy and you don't want more than 2 calls a day. Maybe you can handle more. Maybe not. Maybe you don't want more than 2 sales calls a day. And guests can invite others. I would not recommend that on a sales call. So we're just using sales calls as an example. So we're going to do that. And this the next place. Whatever you are in that Google account is how you're going to show up. So And then location. Is it going to be Google Meet video conferencing? Is it going to be in person, phone call? And you'd be surprised how many people request phone if you allow it. Sometimes I'll be honest, I never allow it. I always do Google because I like to record mine and reference for later. Again, we're talking sales calls. If it's just a regular coffee chat, it's probably going to be video or in person. And then you give a brief description of what your service is. Or if they're booking this call to learn more about your personal trainer sessions or something, you would have a description here. They're trying to learn more about your services. This is where you would kind of give a brief description. And here's your booking form. You are always going to have first name, last name, email address, but you can add questions. I always add questions to screen people out. Foolishness. I call them tire kickers. But at the same time, I don't go overboard with the questions because, you don't want to overwhelm people. 3 questions at the most. And if I want to send a questionnaire, I do a workflow series connecting, creating a Google form to send out to these people after they've completed this booking, which we could talk about on another video. And then the booking confirmation and reminders, calendar invitation, more email reminders. That goes kind of with the paid plan. But we can do some workarounds with Zapier too for that. And you save it. Here, now you've got your open booking page, share booking page. You've got a Google Meet conferencing set up for it. And if you want to share it with people, you can just pull that link up, put it in your notes somewhere, and share that with people. You can embed it on your website. This is what the booking page looks like. When people see it, see, looks just like those Calendly, Acuity, whoever else. And then they only see the time that you're available. And if you put appointments in your calendar, remember, don't overload your calendar because then it'll show no time available. If you want to keep whatever days you say you're available, you need to make sure you're available on those days, or at least some of the time. I had a client once. She said, my scheduler isn't working. People said they can't book appointments. And I opened her calendar. I'm like, it's because you've got all your appointments in here. You can't put everything in this calendar because this is your working calendar. Move everything to your personal calendar and just overlay it onto to your work calendar, and it won't show up. Don't put it actually inside of the calendar. So remember that. Don't use this for everything because then your clients or prospects won't be able to book a call. So that's what your scheduler looks like. This is your calendar. We've gone over tasks. Well, we can go over a little bit more, but you can add a task here. You can get details. You can say it's just a quick do today or tomorrow, or you can pull up date and time on the calendar, and you can make them repeat all over here without doing anything else. That's the cool part. You can really get things done while you're still in your calendar, adding tasks.
If you're looking for free productivity tools to help you run your business, subscribe for more tools. Thanks.